Aid coming from the heavens into what feels like a living hell. On the ground, a dangerous scrum to survive, where they land on buildings, those fit enough to get up first stand the best chance. But no guarantee that any of this will prevent the deaths of the starving and desperate.
This could have cost me my life. If it weren't for the good people who lifted me up from underneath, neither myself nor this tin would have survived.
This was Gaza City. Further south, this video appears to show food trucks overturned and looted, resulting in 20 dead and 30 injured, according to Gaza's civil defense agency. Health officials in Gaza said more than 80 were killed and hundreds injured while trying to collect aid in the past 24 hours. Among them, children. Medics on the ground say they're seeing cases with their own eyes.
It is the most cruel thing I have ever seen in my life, to deprive people of food in the way that has been done here, to shoot at them, to kill them, to injure them when they try to get food, and to have engineered a chaos that allows or that forces people now to fight each other and to find themselves in a sort of survival of the fittest reality.
The World Health Organization says so far this year, nearly 100 people have died from hunger-related causes. And UNICEF says in the first 2 weeks of July alone, 5,000 children were admitted to hospital for malnutrition. And as well as starvation, there is thirst. Aid groups say the water crisis is now just as severe. Groundwater polluted by sewage and chemicals seeping through the rubble. The pipes damaged by strikes, and the risk of disease everywhere. The Israeli president says Israel has overhauled its approach to the humanitarian situation. But its prime minister is now said to favour a complete takeover of Gaza. He's met with senior security officials to finalise a new strategy for the war, despite the widespread condemnation of much of the rest of the world.
This would risk catastrophic consequences for millions of Palestinians and could further endanger the lives of the remaining hostages in Gaza.
In Israel too, tempers flare on the streets of Tel Aviv. Those protesting agree that heading into Hamas strongholds could be catastrophic for hostages still being held. They blocked one of the main highways last night, calling on the government to facilitate a hostage deal. In a small part of the wasteland that Gaza has become, they rake through the rubble after Israeli airstrikes overnight. It looks futile, but they begin anyway, because this is their home and their only reality.
Well, earlier I spoke to the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, who is a very vocal critic of Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel's conduct in the Gaza war. I began by asking him if he thought that starvation had been used as a weapon of war.
I don't think that there was a policy of starvation. Definitely, I have to say, unfortunately, I mean, regrettably, and I'm ashamed of it, that there are factions in the Israeli cabinet and the government which are enormously influential, which explicitly talked about starvation, about denying the Palestinians. Okay, they didn't use the term starvation. They just say that we shouldn't allow even a grain of food coming to Gaza and that we should prevent it. And if we will not do it, then they will break down the government. Okay, so you can blame them for wanting to starve the population. But this was not the policy of the government as of yet. And in the last few days, I am somewhat relieved to see that the Israeli government understood suddenly the extent of this disaster and the terrible impact that it makes, first and foremost, not of our political interest of Israel, but of the lives of hundreds of thousands of people there.
Do you think the real danger is that Israel will just isolate itself even more on the international stage and might, at the end of the day, have even less security than it thinks it has now?
We are not fighting non-involved people, and we should not fight non-involved people in Gaza. We don't want to kill them. We don't want to harm them. We want to reach out for Hamas. But we have been doing it for the last 22 months. And at this point now, what we need to do is to end the war and to bring the hostages and to be part of an effort to bring in security forces that will replace Israel in Gaza and will take over in order to make sure that Hamas is not anymore in a dominant position there.
Do you think Hamas can actually be defeated if this war continues indefinitely, as the Prime Minister seems to want it to?
No, I don't think so. You know, what is the definition of total victory, of total defeat? If one believes that we can destroy Hamas to the extent that there will not be one Palestinian in Gaza holding a gun, this is a fantasy. It will never happen.
Even if these people are not called Hamas, there might be another grouping that hates Israel as much, if not even more, and could still become a security threat.
When Israel is separated from the Palestinians, when we are in our side of the border, we are enormously powerful and we can destroy everything, everywhere in the vicinity, definitely in Gaza or in any other parts that are challenging the security of the state of Israel. We don't need to be inside Gaza. At the time that we were inside Gaza, we lost a lot and we didn't gain anything.
Briefly, do you applaud the British Prime Minister's move to recognize the state of Palestine, possibly during the UN meeting at the end of September?
No, had the Prime Minister Starmer asked me in advance, I would have given him maybe a better advice. I don't think that recognizing a Palestinian state should be presented as a punishment to Israel. Why is it a punishment? I'm in favor of a Palestinian state. I was fighting for the creation of a Palestinian state. I negotiated with the Palestinians in 2008 to reach a comprehensive agreement on the basis of a Palestinian state alongside the state of Israel on the basis of the 67 borders. So I support the Palestinian state long before Starmer. But if Starmer wants to support a Palestinian state, this is a good idea. But why present it as a punishment to Israel? If you guys will not behave yourself, I will recognize it. And if you behave yourself, is it not a good idea anyway?
If President Trump was listening to you now, which I'm sure he is, and he does seem to have these, perhaps the only person who's got the power to stop Mr. Netanyahu, what would you say to Trump?
Well, I would have said to him what I said to him, I think, in our last talk. And in any of the interviews I gave across the world, President, you have the power to make history. You, the only person on earth that can do something that will change immediately the lives of tens of millions of people by doing one thing. Summon Bibi into the Oval Office, put him on the chair that he loves most, which is facing the cameras in the Oval Office, and tell him, Bibi, enough is enough. It's all over with. You end the war today. Only Trump can do it. If he wants to do it, he will legitimately deserve to be awarded in the most highest honors.
Ehud Olmert, thank you very much.
Thank you.